After I heard Jeannie's diagnosis and I came down to visit her, when I first got there, she was camped on this piece of land. And I did some talking with her. I wanted her just to tell us a little bit of her story. So I set up a camera and did a little talking with her. Now I've cut it up some because she was a little bit intimidated by the camera and reluctant to talk.
I'm still intimidated, I think, by the camera and by you. I just keep waiting to wake up.
And so some of the cutting I've done, stuff I've cut out, has been myself. I wanted less of myself and to hear more from her. And this is just a bit of her story, which I thought was kind of interesting. So with that, well, let's get it rolling. So we met at Sturgis.
Yes.
You showed up at Camp 5. And you'd been a follower of my videos for quite a while. And you ended up there by accident. You didn't know I was there, right?
No.
So how'd you end up there? This is where we met.
Yes,
Camp 5 in Sturgis.
Yes. Well, I got a hold of a vendor after I quit my job and got rid of everything. Got a hold of a vendor. The vendor asked me to come out to Sturgis, was willing to put me to work. So got on my bike, packed up, and started headed out to Sturgis. He put me up in Camp 5. That's where another guy that I was working with was staying at Camp 5.
Let me straighten that out.
I'm terrible.
Let me straighten that out. No, it's all right, because that was half-ass.
Yeah.
And he's the one who I met in Florida, and I told him where to camp with us, and he was working for the same vendor.
Yes, yes.
And so he was like, come on out and stay with us, but you didn't even know that I was there or anybody. Those guys were camped there. It was an accident, because you got a job for the same vendor as him somehow accidentally, and he was staying at our place.
Yeah, the vendor had him show me how to get out there, and so he showed me how to get out to Camp 5, and then I met a guy. He looked a lot like you. I'd always just thought, like, I'm never going to meet this guy. He's, you're a big wig, or a legend. Right. I'm never going to meet this guy. Homeless idiot. So I was like, you look a lot like Scooter, Tramp, Scotty. He's like, he's camping in that tent right there. So is Vita. And I went, get out of here. Really? He was like, yeah. And then, came back rolling up on your bikes, like, hey, you got a big fan here? And I was like, it was dark, remember? It was dark, and I was like, is that really? I don't remember that part. I'm messing with me. Is that really him? Like,
look at the white hair. It's bright. Well, there's a lot of white hair these days. So
yeah, it's exciting.
So after the rally, we stayed. A lot of people stayed, but you and I were actually the last ones there. People were there for a month. We stayed for a month anyway. At least I did. You did too, because you were there. And they've got the rec center, which is $15 for a month.
Yeah.
If you're over 50, I think it is, and which we all are. And they've got a swimming pool, a hot tub, a sauna, weight room, showers, and then there's all the things that go on in that area after the show. There's all the other things that are happening. So it was a really great place to be.
Yeah,
and
fun.
I've done my share of traveling hard, running all over the country, which I enjoyed, but I'm really like I'm not into it so much anymore. So, and then bottom line is you and I stayed.
Yeah.
And we were the last ones there. Now you were going to Arkansas, coming back to where you were staying.
Yes.
And I was going south. And I had the choice of two different directions, and I decided on the one to go see Eddie at Bikes, Blues, and Barbecues in Arkansas, in Rogers, is where they have it now. Yeah. And so I was like, well, why don't we ride together? Okay?
Yeah.
Right? So finally we packed up and took off. I did some work on your bike, which really needed it. And it was simple stuff. I fixed the carburetor on it, but it's a whole other story. So we take off, and at one point we're out on the highway, and I pull over and you pull up, and I'm like, look, we're going, 700 miles. I'm like, if you're going to do 45 miles an hour the whole way there, it seemed like 45 to me.
55.
If you're going to do that the whole way there, then I'm just going to give you the address of where Eddie's house is, because we can stay at Eddie's place for the rally, and I'll see you there. And so you took the address, but after that, you sped up to keep up with me.
Yeah. I still took the address just in case.
Okay, so, and I kept it down to 65. I don't mind slowing down some.
Yeah.
And
appreciate it.
Yeah, but what I noticed is, what I began to see is you were really terrified of the ride and the bike and all that. Yeah. So I began to wonder, when you first left, how did you leave? Now, if I'm correct, you were a heavy equipment operator, and you were putting in long hours.
Yes.
And it was killing you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And something snapped.
Yes.
And you had to leave it.
I had to.
And what happened?
I left my job, sold my place, got on my bike, moved some stuff to Arkansas, and then decided I was going to go to Sturgis. I remember you asked me, did you really ride your bike all the way here? I think you were, everybody there was like looking for a trailer or something. Like, this girl did not ride all the way here. She won't even ride up the gravel hill out of Camp 5 to go to work. So, so yeah, they were teasing me a little bit about that. But I say by the time I kept up and got on that interstate with you, then it was some time after that I started feeling major comfort.
Yeah, I pushed you beyond your comfort zone a little bit, and then also riding.
I needed that though. I really needed that. I really needed someone to push me, because the ride there, I almost turned around like 50 times.
Did you on the ride there?
No lie.
That's why I wondered.
Yeah, no lie. And I just said, if I finally do 50 miles, I'm 50 miles closer. Then the vendor pushed me because he wanted me there, or I didn't have a job, so I had to do it. So, and then you pushed me, like.
Well, after the rally, that's what's happening. Is I saw that your level of fear was so high for the bike, which you don't ride that. I watched you ride out the hill.
Yeah.
At Camp 5 had this hill with ruts. You got to go up to get to the road. I watched you ride up it just fine. You didn't have any problems with it. It's not your riding skill. It was your fear level. I told you that right away. Early on.
Yeah. My fear was very high about the whole thing. I mean, I had quit my job. I had sold everything, and now here I am on this big, heavy motorcycle that I haven't ridden in years. But I just did it a little at a time. I just said, I'm just going to make it to this destination, not think about Sturgis. Just if I make it here, then from here I'm going to go further.
Speak loudly.
From there,
I won't pick you up.
Okay, from there, I'm just going to go to my next destination, a couple 100 miles, 200-300 miles a day.
Yeah, but I think you're missing what I want to know, okay? Is you're back in your safety zone. You haven't done this stuff for years. Obviously, you did ride at one point because your skill ain't bad, okay? You're losing your strength. We'll get to that, but what made you fucking quit your job and get on this bike and take off across the country by yourself? And if I'm not mistaken, you slept in the parks in these little towns. They let you sleep in the parks, so you camped in the parks.
Yes.
All by your lonesome.
Yes.
Okay. But then coming back with me, I saw this heavy level of fear. So what prompted you to leave that job, get on that bike, and head and ride straight long into all that fear and make the whole trip there?
I was just tired of the bullshit. I watched
I
watched all your videos, and I was just tired of the bullshit. It's just a vicious cycle that wasn't ending. I was miserable. I didn't feel alive. And even though I was afraid when I first headed out, at least I felt alive. I felt like I was alive for the first time in a long time, and I hadn't felt that in years.
So you're a heavy equipment operator.
Yes.
So you've been working long hours.
About 80, 90 a week.
And a long life of trying to do the normal thing.
Yes.
And having it be stressful and not working out so much from what I've talked to you about.
Yes.
And then just having enough of it.
I had to get to the point where I just didn't care what happened. I had to get to the point I just didn't care what happened. I was so over it and just aggravated that I didn't care what happened. I didn't care. I was just going to do it if I had to go 45 mile an hour all the way to Sturgis.
Which I'll bet you did.
Well, more like 55, 60, but but I just did it. I did it a little at a time. I did it at my own pace. I took my time. It was very scary. I left everything behind. Like you talked about the fear, but I was also the fear of not having ridden in so long, how heavy the bike was, and I just did it anyway. I think you told me that, and it's in your videos. You just have to do it. You just have to do it. That's the biggest thing.
Feel the fear and do it anyway. I might have said that in the video.
Yeah.
So how'd that work out? So what happened? You came and you stayed with us. Was it worth it?
Absolutely. I wouldn't change anything.
Why?
At all. Well, because I had a dream, and I was courageous, and I did it. I did it past the fear. Yeah, it's the best time of my life. This is the best time I've ever had in my life. I don't have any regrets whatsoever. None. I wouldn't change it for anything.
Should have gone a little sooner, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I should have gone back when I had a shit ton of money, maybe. That was kind of scary, too, because I didn't have a whole lot of money. But, I don't know, somehow, like you said, you just go on blind faith and things fall into place. I think it's the getting over the fear. Once you get over the fear, if you want something bad enough, then things conspire to make that happen. They conspire in that direction because that's where you're supposed to be. And when you're not following your heart and you're doing things that don't feel right, then life conspires against you because that's not where you're supposed to be.
What I had, it looked like it was similar to me. I tried doing what society and the TV and everybody tells you should be doing, getting the house and the job and the bills and everything. And it didn't work for me. I mean, it was miserable. When you talk about being so miserable, I really relate. At some of the roofing, I was in roofing. Some of the time spent in that, it was just miserable. Okay, so when I hit the road, it's like my spirit came alive, and I knew. But the scary part is this one here is secure and safe and known, and hitting the road like this was something completely new that I'd never done. But when I got out in it, my spirit woke up. And that's when I realized that there was this whole bigger world that I was meant to be part of. Your story sounded a little bit like that.
So it wasn't just fearful, I was terrified. Just terrified of the whole thing.
But what'd you get for it?
Everything. I felt alive, I was happy. I felt like I was where I wanted to be. I got to meet some amazing people. I got to have a great time, make some friends, and I want to keep doing this. I do. Watching your videos, this is what I wanted to do. I watched your videos when I was at work. I watched them when I was at home. I just watched them and said, I want to do it. I want to do what this guy's doing. I don't know if I can, but I'm going to try. I'm not doing this. This was not making me happy. I want to do what this guy's doing. He looks very happy, and I want to do that.
It was quite a while at camp before you started to actually smile. Before I seen you smile for the first time, it took a while.
Yeah, it's true. I hadn't hung out with anybody or, biker lifestyle in 15 years.
You look like you were spiritually beat up when you got there.
I was a mess.
And then there came a point when you started smiling.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's new.
Yeah, well, when you were around a bunch of jokesters, we were around a bunch of jokesters, great bunch of guys, had me laughing and like, come on, come up this hill.
All of our 6-year-olds.
Come out of this place, come up the hill. I was like, maybe tomorrow.
Oh, there's 6-year-old jokes that drive me crazy.
Yeah, it was so fun though. It was the best I felt in probably 10 years at least, if not longer, since I felt that amazing. I felt alive. I was still fearful, but I was also very proud of myself. And my self-confidence built from riding with you and being pushed into situations I wouldn't have put myself in. Yeah, so, and then I had a couple hours, which I rode back here by myself, and I felt I was not the same person in those couple hours that I was on the way there. I didn't want to, there's nothing else. I want to do this. This is what I want to do. It took a while to get there, but yeah.
I stayed at Eddie's place for a while. He was moving. That's a few hours north. I helped him move. And you rode back down here. And
Yeah.
this is on my way. I wanted to visit you again on the way. It's on my way anyway.
Yeah, thank you for that.
So here we are, camped on this land. So here's the other part. On the way, you started to get sick.
Yeah.
And on the way back here, there was a time or two when you were pretty messed up and you couldn't eat. Every time she ate, she got sick.
Very sick.
Very sick. And so what she was doing was not eating, sometimes for days. Lost a lot of weight. So when she finally got back here, she went to see the doc, and they diagnosed her with terminal cancer.
Yeah.
They gave you 3 months, but you never know about that. You really don't. But it's pancreatic cancer and liver, and it's spread into your liver, and that's why you've lost so much weight. She used to be pretty porky. I've seen pictures.
That's true. That's true. It was a chunky chick.
It was a chunky chick. So I wish you could keep on going, but I'm glad that this is a topper for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't seem so upset about it.
Not. I followed my heart. I followed my dream. I really did it. So it's a beautiful ending to my story. Because what if I would have just did what I was doing? I would have been already dying, and then I would have been dying. At least this way I get to live before I die. Yeah, it's been an awesome experience, and you never know what can happen. 3 months, 6 months, but I want to do this. This is what I want to do.
So, but you don't sound like you're terribly disappointed with this, like you're terribly upset about this diagnosis.
I feel like I should feel a certain way, and maybe if I would have stayed in the situation that I was in, and I was so miserable, I probably would have felt devastated for some reason. But because I followed my heart and did what I wanted to do and had such an amazing time, it's like writing a book. It's a beautiful ending to my story. I wouldn't have it any other way. I was dying there anyway.
In a way, I'm looking forward to getting out of this world myself. I really am. My mother had a death experience recently, and she told me how wonderful. She said she wanted to go back. It was really interesting to listen to her. I've had friends who've had that too, but who knows? But she actually went to the other side. And anyways, so
bury my ashes in Camp 5. You gonna bury my ashes in Camp 5?
I don't know.
At least I'll be in Sturgis once a year.
If you want.
Yeah.
You can have them given to me. I'll do whatever you want with them.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll put them right there in my camp.
That'd be cool.
I'll bury you right next to one of my trees. You'll stay there.
I know, you got the best camp everywhere.
I do.
So,
I find the best camp.
nice.
She's up in the sun. I went and come down here, and I
wanted
got
to be
the
off
shade.
The ground. Yeah, I wanted to be off the ground.
With that. Yeah, it's up on a trailer, flat trailer that you got your camp set up there. Maybe we'll take a look at it. But this is a piece of property that somebody you own these 2 acres, don't you? Somebody gave you 2 acres. Something happened.
Well, I'm on a kind of free lease right now. Let's put it that way. Yeah, I'm on kind of a free lease. Yeah.
There's this land, but there's also another guy staying here who likes to throw trash around. So we've been picking up trash every day and taking some out.
Yeah.
Oh, she's been hanging out with this church group, and these people keep giving her houses. They keep giving you houses to stay in for free.
Yeah.
I've seen them.
Yeah.
And the other one, and she's got a buddy who's been helping her out.
I think
that they're friends for years, and he's staying over in the houses, and you keep staying over here in the camp. The church people are like, oh,
that's
you're so sick. Let me use this house. They're sweet people.
Because I'm still in my dream, and I keep thinking if I go over there, that I'm gonna wake up. It's not real. None of this happened. So if I hang out with you, I know it's real. You know.
You don't seem to mind the camps.
I don't mind at all. I like being in the woods. It's great.
Yeah.
I think that all kind of coincides with what I said about, like, if you do what it is you really want to do, you feel, then everything else falls into place. That includes the church group. I know we met the CMA people. They said prayers, and just some wonderful people that are here to help. I have gotten phone numbers from perfect strangers. Said, hey, if you need anything, if you just want to talk, if you want a smoothie.
A smoothie, you need smoothies.
Come on over. So it's been a outpouring. Even before I got my diagnosis, it was just an outpouring of just amazing people, and everything fell into place. I'm very happy.
I'm glad you've gotten to do this.
Yeah, me too.
They say you should never meet your heroes, because then you just find out they're just people.
Yeah.
So now you have.
It hasn't happened yet.
Hasn't happened yet. I'm still Superman, huh?
Yeah. Just without the phone booth and the tape. Got your Harley.
Well, we got some things to do today. I've got to deal with this video thing I got going on. And with that, I think I'll turn the camera off.
Right on. Cool beans.
Cool. All right, I wanted to take a look at your house here. What's this bed for?
It's an outdoor bed for stargazing, and we have bonfires, so...
You sleep out here?
Yeah, I can sleep out
There has
here.
to be a fire for you to sleep out here?
Yeah, I usually like to lay out here and watch the fire. It doesn't
Oh.
have to be, but it's nice.
I get it. There's a fire pit behind me.
Yeah, there's a fire pit back there. So.
He's got cooking stuff here.
And I got my storage.
Storage in this one.
Clothes.
Bike stuff. I see bike stuff in there.
Yeah, and there's a whole tote of bike stuff under here.
Ah.
And this is my bathroom here. Water and what have you.
Water, a mirror.
Yeah, mirror, toothpaste.
Clothes.
Yeah, my clothes is drying. I don't like to pay for a dryer.
Cheap bitch.
Well, the weather's nice. We'll just dry them outside. Save some money. My lovely house.
Let's take a look. She got it up off the ground on this here trailer, huh?
Yeah, this is my 5x10 trailer. I like to be up off the ground.
No, there it is. Nice bedroom.
And we have a generator
I see the generator.
in case I, want a fan or heat in the wintertime.
So let's look at your motorcycle.
Oh, what? Let's do that. I didn't even uncover it yet. Oh, my windshield. That's new.
The new windshield.
It's an 06 Softail Deluxe.
It used to have carburetor issues.
Yes. 25 miles to the gallon.
25 miles to the gallon.
Now I get 40. 38, 40.
The guy who she had put in the gear drive cams in this thing, he couldn't get it to run right after that. He kept trying, and he put a kit in the carburetor, and the kits never worked. I made a video about that. And what I did was just took it out. I went in there and took it out, put the stock stuff back in, and then set up the jets about right. And it runs fine now.
I've added a windshield.
Oh, the windshield.
Yeah. You got this free from your friend?
Right.
What's his name, Eddie? Donna?
Yeah, he was getting rid of stuff when he moved. He was getting rid of all kind of stuff. He was like throwing that out.
First windshield I've ever had on my bike, and it's almost 20 years old, and I love it. It's great. Scotty modified it to fit. It's actually a Yamaha. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yamaha?
came off a Yamaha.
I love it. It's great. I need it in a bag.
You know, it seemed a little strange to me, but right from the gate, Jeanie didn't really seem to mind her diagnosis. She didn't seem to mind dying at all. In fact, she told me, she said, with what's coming to this world, I don't really want to be around to see it. But she did want to avoid suffering. Suffering was her big concern, so we did the best we could with that. Now, many people out there know that there's big stuff going on in the world these days. There's a lot of talk about it, but there's almost no talk of the solutions, which seem pretty obvious to me. And for that, I want to just state as quickly as possible here is that what the weapons of the enemy are, what they could not survive without, is the mainstream media, which they own almost all of it worldwide now. The banks, if nobody took loans, they would go out of business. The corporations, which are now all connected and centrally controlled. This is a large part of the Big C thing, was to put our businesses out of business. And the military-industrial complex that Dwight Eisenhower warned us about in his final speech. And Smedley Butler, for those of you who don't know who he was the most decorated Marine in history at the time of his death. He wrote a book after a 33-year career titled War is a Racket, and I'm going to give you just a few quotes from that right here and see what he has to say about it. Now, unknowingly, most of us are supporting these institutions, so we're the ones who are actually making this thing happen. So if we did not support them financially, they would go under, and that's where they live. So it's just something to think about. The solution is obvious. There are a few other countries where the people of the countries have taken these actions against this. We're the ones funding the whole party, you see? We're doing it willingly and without knowing about it. Now, in case I ever get taken down here, or if you just want to know, if you just want to be able to go someplace else, someplace that's free speech, to find any kind of information you want to find out about, whether it be cancer treatments or anything like that, I want you guys to know that I am also on these two other channels, and if you go over there, they're just like YouTube. You just go to Google or whatever you're using and put these in, and then hit go, and it'll come up with another video channel like YouTube, and search my name over there and I'll come right up, or search anything else you want over there. Now, when I search these things, there's a bunch of them, or a good handful, and I've looked at most all of them. So what I've learned is that Rumble went on the market last year. BlackRock took control of it. It's become pretty much controlled opposition. These two here have been the ones that have given me the very best information when I go in there. You want to know about the Donald thing or anything. When I see something on mainstream, or even if I don't, but when I do, I go check it against free speech, and I almost always find out that it's different than what they're actually telling me there. So I want to leave you guys with that. I'm going to leave you a few links below. One to my book, which is getting really great reviews. So if you go look at the reviews, it's there in case you want it. And with all that, you guys, you know, I'm probably going to do one more video on this, because I want to show what happened in the end, what people did. People came out from the woodwork to help this girl, and it was really something to see. And I didn't want to do any videos of her being really sick, but I want to show what the people did. So with that, I hope to see you all on the next video.